Hello, everyone. Gunner here, and we got our week 4 college football recap. Great weekend. Obviously, sour taste in my mouth from that day, and we'll go into the why. I'm sure, as some of you are already aware. But as always, we're going to recap those games, go over those winners, talk about some of the games, obviously, and then as always, we're going to talk about some of the recruiting across the country. And let's get into it, guys. So, hope you guys again enjoyed your fabulous weekend. Mine was very, very well. Ended on a good note. Didn't start on a good note, but hey, so that's not how you start. It's how you finish. And so we're going to start with Illinois against Nebraska. This was a Friday night game. Illinois on the road takes out Nebraska 31-24. I mean, this was a great game, man. I mean, obviously a little surprised Nebraska lost, but I think at the end of the day, this is more about Illinois. At the end of the day, in my opinion, this very well coached team, very disciplined. Definitely got some underrated guys that no one really knows about, and we're seeing it. So they got a big game coming up, I believe, this weekend against Penn State. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. So they got a great matchup. I think another road game too, which is very fascinating. Their schedules doesn't seem like preseason wise didn't play in their favors from a on the paper standpoint and all that. So yeah, shout out to Illinois, man, and Nebraska will bounce back. Very good team still, I think, in the Big Ten. They definitely have made some improvements since last year. All right, next one here is we're going to talk about is pretty much it was basically the game of the week for college football 25. If any of you play that, and the final score was 59-35. I mean, Clemson is a good team. I hope everyone can say that. I mean, let's be honest. They played Georgia week 1, right? And so I think 95 to 99% of the country would lose that game to Georgia week 1, especially since the game is basically still in the state of Georgia. It's a home game. I don't care what you want to call it in terms of this neutral site. I mean, that was a legit home game. So South Clemson fans, they definitely travel well. South Carolina's not far as well, but still, I mean, a 2 hour drive from Atlanta to Athens. But I think Clemson deserves some credit in Dabo. I mean, their offense is rolling. The defense is definitely looking good. I know they have FSU in a couple weeks. FSU hasn't looked well. I think I'm still fascinated about that game and just curious to see how Clemson looks against a disgruntled FSU team, a bad team. So I think they got Louisville as well. But I think that's the thing with the ACC. It's so weak. Most of these teams are going to beat up on each other. So like when a Clemson faces some of these teams, it's very hard to gauge. But it's just Clemson doesn't shouldn't have to overlook these teams. Yeah, one game at a time. All right. Next game here. This was a brutal one. My Trojans lost 27-24. Unfortunately, I mean, all I can say, and I talked about this at length, as well as my fellow co-hosts on like Torch. So please go check that out. Just proud of the fight. Proud of the fight, man. The first half didn't go our way. Second half, we were able to make adjustments, found some plays, got a lot of stops on defense. And, I mean, we were leading this game. It was 24-20 at one point. Again, obviously that big run at the end just weren't just weren't in the right spot. Missed tackles, refs. I don't want to get into that I can't control. But yeah, just what an effort. And this team's legit. This team is up on the rise. The culture is right. We're always going to have an offense. We finally have a defense, and you can see that it's just we have to continue to develop. We need to continue to recruit, and it will, especially on the defensive side. The offensive side definitely has some questions on the line, but I got faith. I got faith. It's only one game. We're definitely not going to face a defensive line like Michigan's. Maybe Penn State until like Big Ten championship if we get there, playoffs if we get there. Right, that's when you start having some trouble with some other teams that can compare to Michigan's defensive line. So tough loss. And last thing they'll say, pretty much everyone didn't think we were going to win this game going into the season. So So like obviously after the fact, it's different, but I think we all need to kind of realize that it's like, man, this is a game we weren't really supposed to win going into the season. We had a chance, didn't happen. Is what it is. We move. All right, next game here, LSU versus UCLA, guys. And I'm gonna be honest, LSU's still so banged up. Harold Perkins got hurt this game. He's out for the season, so that's even worse for them. But they win 34-17. Good win. They don't cover, pretty close, but they still don't cover, which hurts us. But yeah, shout out to UCLA, in my opinion. I mean, they've had a tough schedule. Go on the road to LSU. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect 17 points. So, and honestly, I didn't expect you to only give up 34. So yeah, gotta give you some kudos, little brothers. Gotta give you some kudos. All right, next one here is Louisville versus Georgia Tech, and Louisville wins 31-19. What a game! Didn't really watch it, but I think just from the outcome and the score, it definitely shows that Louisville was able to take control of this game. I didn't think this was going to be a close game, like maybe a 31-26 type of ball game. Definitely a one possession game, basically, but obviously that wasn't the outcome. So Louisville is definitely legit in that conference. So next game here is man was a slugfest. I mean, pretty much just defenses battling it out. Offenses were trying to move the ball as best they can. Cam Rising was not playing, so we had Zach Wilson's brother Isaac, sorry, I believe, play. But Utes win 22-19 on the road in Stillwater. Pretty solid place. Rowdy crowd, I'd say. I mean, not nothing crazy, but I mean they're rowdy folks. So big time win in my opinion for Utah to start the conference for Big 12, and now they're a top 10 team, which I have no issue with. All right, next game here we're going to talk about here is pretty much was the real game of the week in my opinion. Tennessee versus Oklahoma, 25-15. I mean, two things stand out, or I would say more than a few things, two things. But Tennessee side first. Congrats to Josh Heupel getting his win against Oklahoma. Right, former QB won a natty there. Was a coach there for a little bit. Um, so just I'm sure a lot of emotions and whatnot. So huge win. Congrats to him. Did think this offense was going to score a little bit, maybe in the 30s. So that maybe that's a credit to OU having a good game plan on the defensive side and whatnot. But OU's got some struggles, man. Offensive line is not looking good. Quarterback change is happening. We got Hawkins going in instead of Jackson Arnold. So I do think the freshman deserves to continue to play. I thought he played very well for being thrown in. And just he was just competing, man, battling out there, trying to move the ball, doing the best he can. And I think that's what most coaches all they really want, until it gets to a point. So yeah, what a game. And then lastly, guys, we're going to talk about before we get into recruiting here is the BYU versus Kansas State. And I'm not shocked on the winner, BYU, but I'm definitely shocked on the outcome and the score, 38-9. Definitely did not expect that. I knew Kansas State was going to start off slow. They just have been these last few games. But I anticipated that they were going to kind of score 16, 20 points, somewhere in there, right? At least double digits. Obviously, that did not happen. And I mean, it's a tough place to play at BYU, especially at night. Definitely a tough loss for BYU or for Kansas State. Sorry, wow, Kansas State, tough loss for Kansas State. Huge win for BYU. Apologies. All right, guys, let's get into some recruiting here before we head out here. Hope you guys have enjoyed the recap so far, and let's get into recruiting. So, big time here, running back Byron Lewis, 6'2", 208 kid out of Florida. He chooses FSU over Miami, Wisconsin, and Georgia. So, very talented programs out there, known for their running backs. And yeah, so FSU gets a big one. And this is huge. FSU is what, 1-3? 2-3, 1-3. So yeah, 1-3. So yeah, they finally get their first win. All right, next one here is Ladarian Clardy, safety out of Florida as well. He chooses the Ole Miss Rebels over LSU and FSU. So big time get. Ole Miss goes into Florida, takes a kid, and yeah, That's a good get for Ole Miss. All right, 26 kid here. His name is Victor Singleton, DB out of Toledo, Ohio. He's a top 100 recruit. He has released basically his top 10. He is kind of already slowly accelerating his recruitment, slowly understandable. Ohio State, Michigan, Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Penn State, A&M, Oregon, and Nebraska. Big time recruits. Hopefully, Wisconsin can stay in this mix against this group. I think that'll say a lot. Next one here is Malachi Tony. This name might ring a bell. He's a wide receiver, a Miami commit. He just reclassified. He was a 26 kid. He is now a 25 kid. He will be visiting Alabama as Bama takes on Georgia at home. So see what anything what if anything transpires with this visit. Next one here is a 26 kid, Jake Fetty, quarterback, top 55 recruit as of right now. He commits to ASU, man. So this is a huge get for Dillingham, in my opinion. Big get for that program. So hopefully he sticks, and we see this kid on campus because they definitely do need just recruits and obviously QBs. Another 26 QB here is Dayton Raiola. He is Dylan Raiola's brother, if you don't know. He has committed to Nebraska as well. He's doing the family business, family tradition. If you don't know, their dad was a Nebraska Cornhusker, big time lineman, 10+ years in the NFL, and yeah, both kids now are going to be going to Nebraska. Obviously, Dylan's there right now, starting and doing his thing. But yeah. And then lastly, here is an elite 2025 D lineman, Isaiah Campbell. He commits from Clemson, which is definitely a shock. So two teams that are pretty much in the mix already, Tennessee and UNC. Personally, I think Tennessee is definitely the team to watch here, right? They're rolling right now. They're definitely going to be a playoff team, in my opinion. So I anticipate Isaiah Campbell saying Tennessee later on. We'll see when that later on is, and we'll keep you posted, guys. But this is the Week 4 recap. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoy your week. Peace.